Hello folks. We are on a rainy, dark drive headed back from the airport. I don't want people to know when I'm traveling, but it's okay to know that I'm back. But I find it remarkable how poor the visibility is tonight. The plane came in through bad weather, and here I am in bad weather. So what are some go-to tips in weather like this? Don't set your cruise control, that's how you hydroplane. Oh man, I can't even see the daggum lane lines very well. Have the inside of your windshield clean. That helps. The faster you go, the heavier the rain is, right? So if you slow down, your velocity against the water is lighter. So in theory, it's easier to see. Now if the rain is just hard as it is, no changing that. I'm going to turn on my defroster, just in the event that might help me out here. Because this is a tough 60 degrees right now. Traffic is slowing. We've got an emergency vehicle up here. One thing people don't always know is that the police can lower the speed limit if they deem the weather conditions warranted. So if you're driving 65 and a 65, but the weather is bad, in this case it's a 70, the police can lower the speed limit to 55 and tell you, incite you for driving too fast for conditions, regardless of what the maximum speed on that road is. Something to keep in mind on days like this. Because if they want to ticket you, they can. If you want to fight it, you can. But I'm a lawyer. I can usually weasel my way out of things. There's a lot of people who can't do that. Emergency vehicles, I can't even read this sign, my gosh. Watch road conditions. Emergency vehicles at very right shoulder. Alright, so that's coming up on my right. Can't be too many miles away. Probably would have been wise for me to use GPS. That's another tip for bad weather. Check your GPS just to see what they suggest. Your map software. Just to see if, if one road is shut down or substantially delayed. Usually an alternative route they can give you. Or you just head off into the hinterlands, hoping for the best. So, we're going about 59 miles an hour right now, in a 70 zone. Why? Because that's what the conditions dictate. It's the speed of traffic. Nobody's flying around me on the left, which is uncharacteristic. It's a sign that this weather is really kind of bad. Berry Road is a mile away, assuming the emergency vehicles are still there. It's often kind of a head fake because they put these warnings in to scare people and warn them, but truth is, we often clear these lanes, emergency lanes, pretty quickly if we can. And when they say emergency vehicles, it means probably an accident of some kind, which does take a little bit longer to figure out. But here's a little trick they're not going to tell you. When it's raining, they're not going to do a huge investigation. They're going to move on. They're going to close the books and say, tow the cars, let's get the hell out of here. Unless somebody's dead, which they could be, but I highly doubt it. Oh boy. Fuse just popped. I can hear again. At least hear differently. I had no idea they needed popping until it just happened. That's the nice thing about yammering to you all right now, is it helps my ears rediscover themselves. I lucked out. I got 2 direct flights. I wasn't supposed to have a direct flight. I wasn't supposed to be home for another, I want to think about it, several hours, we'll put it that way. So by moving my flight, giving up my boarding position, so here's that emergency vehicle. You got 1 stranded car, no lights. You got ambulance or tow truck, okay? Tow truck, plenty of lights. But that vehicle back there, I don't even know if the camera can capture it. There's a completely dark, small pickup. No flares. And this goes back to what I said before about having a light source. If you're sitting in that truck right now with no lights on, you're a sitting duck. You are waiting for somebody to not see you crash into the back of you. I've seen it numerous times. Alright, this is right lane closed. Well, very good. So anyways, that truck back there could very well get rear-ended suddenly. And if you're inside that truck, or even near that truck, staying outside of it, not a good thing. You have to pop again. I'm going 55. Construction probably has a reduced speed. The rain is really pelting things right now. So if I do this math right, I left yesterday at 8 a.m. and I'm home pretty much by the next day at 8 p.m. That is a good trip. Got everything done. Oh boy, I cannot see. Son of a biscuit. This is tough. Got everything I needed done in basically 36 hours. It's not bad. It's not bad. Got to see New York City, drink in some of that culture outside of my business meetings, and this guy needs to not be swerving. You want me to slow down? I don't know. It appears this fellow has a bungee cord holding his trunk down. At least his light's working. Thank you. Way to prove my encroachment into the rumble strip. Not ideal. Again, we're trying to find our way here. I still have a ways to go. So long as I don't miss my exit, which would be disappointing. These roads aren't going to be fun. Any road I plan on is not going to be fun. Now, why this guy's in the left lane going 55? I am glad to have, 20-inch tires instead of 14-inch tires or whatever this little Toyota has. It does help in these conditions. I probably still have 50% of my treads remaining, which is also helpful. There's no risk of loss of traction due to worn tires. That's another thing to consider in weather like this. Another ear pop. This I have to open up. I-29 closed at 6:35. Do they mean it? closed. The ramp is closed. This warning sign doesn't say anything. They should put a sign over the exit saying closed. No such item. Now I'm going 16 to 55. Doesn't say the exit is closed, but there's nobody else in this lane. What are we in for? Take the curve. Cross our fingers. I think we're going to be just fine. Now we are on, shall soon be on 635. This is a bypass road for I-35, popular with interstate travelers who wish to avoid Kansas City. Have a more hassle-free experience passing through town. It's also designed to connect communities near here to a highway, which prior to this, they were probably rather isolated. Really struggling to see the lane lines on this road with the light putting off versus this reflection of water. Over one, just for my own notification. I know that there's a I-70 intersection where the right lane goes one way and the left lane goes the other. Middle, you're pretty well safe. We're not quite there yet, but I was right. The right lane will be exit only, and the far left lane will be exit only. 69 South Fairfax is not the 69 South that I take home, which is odd because you'll tell a friend, take the 635 to 69. Well, they might very well get off on exit 10 here, which is the 69 highway, right? Well, wrong. It's the wrong 69. And you don't really know that unless you just know that. That's one of the difficult things about living here is some of these intersections that don't make a lot of sense. I once went jogging and found myself at the intersection of 75th Street and 75th Street. I had to ask myself, what in the heck, and how in the heck do you plan 75th Street to intersect with 75th Street? And how are people supposed to know where they are and how this works? It's bizarre. Oh boy, okay. Look ahead, plan ahead, look at this. We got a real slowdown. See it, plan for it. This guy's using his flashers, I love that. Planning for trouble because we have trouble. Now I can see a siren up on the left. Maybe it's the right. Heck, we can't tell, can we? And there we go. So once we pass, actually there's two. They're not far away. We just have to figure out how to get around this stuff. Believer in old-fashioned zippering, which means go on down to the end and figure this out. We've obviously had an accident, and it's a wide-ranging accident because we have one vehicle perhaps back on the right and another on the left. We know the exit ramp is closed. That's for construction. Somebody may have missed that. You know, I'm not even seeing a note to get over. But I think we do need to get over. And these folks are not feeling kind. Are they? Watch him zip up there. He does not want to let me over. He did not want to let him over. I'll tell you what, I'll let this fella over. So at some point, it's about supporting our law enforcement. It's not about being selfish, you know. I really hope that whatever he's doing was worthwhile. I don't know why we are blocking the road. We have, appears to be, my goodness. Some distressed vehicles. Everybody move to the right. I mean, I just can't see anything out of this car. I don't know why. It's like my headlights aren't even on. Expressway is closed. This is a lot of interesting. I don't know what's going on around here. At least you're getting a show tonight. Tell you what. So I secured myself a seat on this earlier flight. Really not an object because we're talking about saving 4 hours of my time, which is substantial. And I said, put me on this flight and upgrade my boarding so I can board with the A group, the business class. I'm happy to do that. And they said we can't sell it to you because of a computer glitch. Try the app. Try the app. It's a computer glitch. Computer glitch affects their computers and the app equally. What do you know? So I had to stand there looking at the empty spaces. It was money this airline could have brought in. Money I was willing to pay, but money that they could not collect because of a computer glitch. And if you're a manager of Southwest Airlines, you've got to say to yourself, we have to fix this. How much money are you losing? If every one of your business travelers who exercises a standby option cannot upgrade their boarding. We want to upgrade our boarding. Let us upgrade our boarding. We want to give you more money. Take it. So instead, I had to board with the C group and take a middle seat and deeply annoy the people in the front of the plane with whom I sat on a flight that was not full. Nobody around us had a middle seat occupied, except for mine. So this is what I have. Southwest needs to think about the user experience of the business traveler. Do I want to find myself as the middle seat on Southwest? No. Fix it. Make it happen. We don't want to find ourselves in this situation. Now granted, I should be an A-list person. I'm sure I will be next year. Last year, I don't know, maybe wasn't as loyal. I flew with whoever was. Southwest had so many service interruptions last year that I really grew cold on them. That's a fact. I switched to American, Delta, almost anybody else because I find myself in a meeting and I'm trying to focus on the business and I get a notification telling me my flight was canceled. Just canceled. Deal with it. You're going to leave tomorrow now. Well, now hang on a second. I I don't need to leave tomorrow. I need to leave today. And this is the kind of thing Southwest pulled on me 2, 3, maybe 4 times last year. And by the 3rd or 4th incident, I was done. I said, I'm done. I'm not going to put up with this. You create more work and hassle and stress than you resolve. So I'm done. This year, we tried a new beginning, and it was successful. Based on their schedules, I like their schedules, so we gave it a shot, and it's been working out. It's been successful. And at the rate we're going, I'm going to fly a few more times this year, and may very well beat A-list by next year. We shall see. But if I was A-list, I could have boarded before the B group with the A-list, and that's probably what their retort would be. Nevertheless, it still is revenue that they could not capture due to a software glitch. And it seems like low-hanging fruit for an airline. Fun to see New York City after. Well, I saw it about a year ago, less than a year ago, truthfully, but I didn't spend much time there. I haven't sat down and had a meal in New York City since October of 2019. So we're talking about 4 years. The difference that 4 years makes. Subways had lots of open seats. The 7 train that I was on yesterday actually had someone pushed in front of it, killed sometime after I rode that train. I had to be cautious. I knew about shovings on subway platforms, so I made a point when I was in the station to put my back towards the platform against a beam. And the thought being, if somebody were to try to push me, I'm planted against a beam. How are you going to push me onto a platform in this circumstance? I don't think you will. A friend told me after the fact, he said, when people look at you, they don't see you as someone whom they can shove. And I chuckled, and I thought, well, maybe perhaps that's a true statement. The people who get shoved are the people who stand up close to the platform, you know, jonesing to get a seat on the train car. I don't do that. I try to get on before the door's shut. I'll keep my space. I don't want a seat, I'll stand. So you sort of put yourself in a position to be shoved when you do that. And so, like I said, I took a defensive posture and faced my back to a beam, facing the opposite side of the platform. So once the train came, you know, and everybody was being vigilant, as they should be. There's been a lot of crime in the subway system in New York. The news today was talking about it. It was disappointing. You know, they interviewed a young mother with a 3-year-old son who she said she's not going to ride the subway because she feels it's unsafe for her son, and she's spending the extra money for rideshare cars, even though they're up to 10 times more expensive than subway. MTA strikes back and says we're doing what we can. We're beefing up police presence inside stations, which is true. I really saw a fair number of, I saw much more policing in New York City than I saw in Kansas City the last time I went into Kansas City. We've got, not only are they, we're not talking one officer, you know, punching a billy club talking about groups of 2 and 3 officers. Oftentimes they're ready to go. I mean, they will. you got a crew. You got a crew that's ready to ball out. Okay, and in those particulars. Now, granted, I had questions about the subway system because I hadn't been on it in 15 years without a helper to guide me. But 35 south, yes. So I was nervous, and I felt intimidated by the subway system. I said, I don't know if I can do this because it's been too long. The DC Metro, I used to know that well. The New York subway system, I really hadn't ridden it much. Certainly not by myself. It'd been several years. And I said, I'm going to figure this out. So I studied it, I went to Google Maps. I want my kids to understand subways so that if they ever lived in a city, I don't want them to be intimidated like I felt. So I said, James, conquer this. Figure this out. Google Maps is a terrific resource. They have a transit, set of instructions that tell you what your options are. And look, I screwed up. I screwed up twice. First train I got on, I thought was the right one. It was taking me north when I wanted to go south. And I screwed up. So I got off after, for some reason I thought maybe it'll go north and then dogleg south or something. I was such a moron. Thinking these thoughts. Because I hadn't seen an actual map of the system, right? Well, I had to commit a couple facts. First, uptown means north. I don't know why they won't say north, but uptown means northbound. You're going to Harlem. You're going to Bronx. If you go uptown. If you go downtown, you're going towards, Battery Park, right? So uptown and downtown, if you can master what those two things mean and what they mean in relation to your trip, I think that's pretty helpful. Now, somebody like me who's very analytical, I still got confused. So I get off at the train station and I realize I'm in the wrong place. I need to get to the other side of the platform, but I don't know how. So I'm looking for, there's no signage. I need to take a staircase underground and get there. Well, I go underground, guess what? There's a sign for the Green 6 train downtown. I'm thinking, okay, well, it says 6 downtown, but I'm down a level. I should be back up where I started if I want to be going the opposite direction of from whence I came. But instead, I sit there and I watch all these trains come through. None of them say what I need them to say, which is City Hall, Brooklyn Bridge City Hall. None of them say that. And the signage is confusing. It really is. It says 6 downtown. So I see an MTA guy. He's not a police officer. He's an employee of the train system. He's standing there with a mask on against a wall, just chilling. I say, look, I'm looking for the 6 downtown. I need to go to Bleecker Street. And all he does is point towards an escalator. I didn't get it because it said 6 downtown. I'm like, oh yeah, 6 downtown, exactly. So I stay here, and he keeps pointing and keeps pointing. I'm like, oh, I need to go up this escalator, which I should have known because I started out a story above. If the train you were wanting, if the opposite train was 1 story up and you go 1 story down, it makes no sense that the opposite train is below you. It should be across the tracks, back upstairs. That's what it should be, right? So I go back up, catch that train, it's the right train, and I get where I need to go. Do I feel like I know the subway system like the back of my hand? No. But those were the 2 main errors that I made. And this was the time to make them. I don't have kids with me. I don't have a spouse with me to question my choices and whatever. It worked out well. It was a good experiment. I'm glad that I did it. Now, after I went to my little show, it was probably about midnight. That was a strange time to be on the subway. There was a sign in the station that said the train I needed would not be operating after 11:45 p.m. serving this station. I think it was called the Orange D train. No D train after 11 p.m. at this station. Use the F train. That's what the sign read. Well, it's midnight, and I'm thinking, what does this mean? Do I take this sign literally? There's lots of people on the platform, I mean a fair number. So I have to decide whether to read the sign and believe the sign, or not. So you have the signs that are already built in the station, and then you have these temporary signs that are put in there by the transit authority warning you about changes that come along from time to time. And I don't know what to think. I'm tired of asking people for help. And there's no employees. So I just decide I'm going to wait here for... I look at when Google Maps says the next train's coming. Wait for that. Sure enough, the train that I needed showed up. I said, you know what, I'm just going to get on it and hope for the best. Because sometimes it seems like the train that I want isn't actually going where it says it's going. But again, that's anecdotal. Can't prove that. What I do know is that finding the label on the last train I took was quite difficult. And I wasn't not sure that it was the right train. It was very hard to find out. Some of them have more labeling than others. Some of them have, an interactive line that shows you what station of the line you're on, and so on. Some of them have air conditioning, some of them don't. It's interesting. I am glad that I don't rely on that system for my everyday travels. I think I'd be rather frustrated if I could. Nevertheless, what can we say? I can say the wait times were short. Assuming you know where you're supposed to be and what you're waiting for, the wait times were short. The ridership is clearly decreased. We know that. Everyone knows that. And the occupancy of the city itself is decreased. We'll bounce back. Real estate interests are simply too powerful to not eventually make that happen. So we have made it to the famous 69 nighttime shift. Road closures. Lord help us. Because this is not going to be fun. Hopefully, they aren't doing all the nonsense that they do very late at night. It's still only 7:45, which means that the lane closures may not be in effect yet. It also may mean, due to this weather, that construction was halted for the day. Construction's halted for the day. That will be a positive thing for me on this particular drive. Because if they're trying to burn the midnight oil with the bright lights and the lane closures, it's going to be true. So far, I'm not seeing anything about lane closures. You know that at some point, 135th is next only, so I ought to be over one. having moving walkways in a brand new airport, working it for 6 months. You know, it's astounding how it's definitely getting harder. I'm going to turn my wipers up. These folks are exiting. I'm not sure where they are. It looks like 135th. Took us a heck of a long time to get there, based on all that signage. I really thought we would have gotten there quicker. There we are. Now, on the highway, next section, first. Yeah, the job sites are clearly shut down, which means their spotlights are not blinding me. Well, no. Looky here to the right. We have... Oh, moly, that's a worker right next to my... You'll notice he was wearing a green reflective vest. Very smart. Very necessary. That guy was really in the danger zone. But other than that, the job sites are pretty much shut down. I guess when you're going 40 miles an hour, it does seem like you're progressing. Heavy downpour. Glad I didn't get a car wash a couple days ago like I thought about. I mean, it's 40 minutes into this drive. I should be just about home. Which tells you how much this weather is really affecting me. Just now to 151st. Enjoy. Telling me, go left. Go left, da 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 da. Go left, da 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 da. But I'm bringing some village people into this. Just say go west. So if I want to go west, I want to go east. Go east, da 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 da. Go east, da 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 da. Go east. I'm gonna crop this out of my film. I went to an HBO filming of a comedy show last night. Very cool. First time I've done that. Good times had by all. The comedian's name is Renan Hirschberg. He was wearing a black t-shirt and a burgundy jacket. So if you see him, I'm in the audience that night. Although he did do two shows. He did an 8 o'clock show and an 11 o'clock show. Both are filmed. They'll crop out as needed. He sweated a lot, which made it so that they needed to cut the film. They had to cut filming to dab down his skin because he was, I don't know why he wore a jacket. It was a hot basement. Must have just been part of his outfit. It wasn't a nice jacket. It was just sort of like a members only style jacket. You don't need it. You just don't need it. Whatever. Alright folks, I'm going to sign off. I'm close to home. I'm tired and I'm done talking. Peace and safety be with you.